There we go.
Hi guys, Tom from the 100th Monkey Radio here, and we're here at ECETI. This is the final day of the conference for 2013. It is July 1st, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, into a new month. We're halfway through 2012, or 2013 already, 2012. I mean, this year has just absolutely flown by. So what do you guys think of ECETI?
That's pretty much hard to put into words. It's been an incredible experience.
Goose flesh.
It's our first time here, and if nobody was here, this would be an incredible place for us to be right now.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the energies of all the attendees and the speakers and everyone, it's just so expansive and like mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, I really hooked in with you yesterday during your talk. I mean, I love you. I absolutely love what you put out there too. But I had a really strong connection with your material. Would you mind just kind of maybe touching real lightly on that whole mind projection thing, how we project into the world and it's reflected back at us, and it's all about our maybe the thought process on how we look at things, and I just love that.
This is the really fun part for me, because it's, for me, the role of being the observer then gives us a foundation to really change things or affect what's happening. I've always, one of my favorite things to say is that reality is from the inside out. And so rather than looking at how I can change anything on the outside, it's all, what's going on inside of me and what can I shift. And one of the things for me, one of the big lessons was experiencing frustration with how my mind works in the past, and then wanting to step up and kind of fight it, I'm gonna handle this, and I'm gonna, that sort of control dynamic. And of course it doesn't work, because the more I want to control my mind, the more my mind wants to stay steadfast and not be controlled. And so I then learned that the best way was to really embrace the way my mind is, and if I'm choosing for something to be different, to create a workaround. I call them Jedi mind tricks.
There you go.
Because it's just, it makes it all fun that way. And so, the metaphor I use is if we're going on a road trip and we know that there's construction on a particular road, we're probably not going to push ourselves through that if we know beforehand that that's what we're going to head into. We're going to create a workaround. We're going to create a little detour around it so we don't have to put ourselves right in the midst of that. And so enough times I kept going through the construction in my mind, and then realized, wow, if I just kind of created this little workaround, I don't have to deal with all that stuff in the middle. And it's made life easier.
I do a little thing in myself that I call throwing up flags. Whenever I get into a spot where something feels uncomfortable or something just feels disjointed in any way, the way I see something, experience something, I throw a flag up. And then I pull myself into that observer position and look at it and say, what the heck's going on here? Where's this from?
Right.
I mean, I ask where this from. And then the next step is there another way I can term this in my mind? Just terminology has made a huge difference. I like what Mother Teresa said. She said, I will not go to a war rally, but I'll go to peace rallies all day long.
Right.
It's just that subtle change in the way we term things, even within our thought processes, has made a huge difference in my life.
And that quote itself demonstrates exactly what we're talking about, because one thing is going into conflict, is going in like this. That's the war rally. We're fighting something. And the other one, the peace rally, is we're embracing something. And when you embrace something, you're becoming one with it. You're bringing it all in. And like the law of physics, in my paraphrasing simplicity, is if you push something, it will push back with the same amount of force. Well, for most of us, that creates a little bit like, well, wait a second, we'll push a little harder, and then it pushes back with the same force, and by the time we're finished, we're way up here at the top of the mountain that started as something that was barely a molehill.
Right. Laura, is this all a divine feminine thing that we're talking about here?
Well, I mean, I think it's a way to work with the feminine and masculine energy within ourselves. The feminine energy is all about creativity and birthing realities. And so, with the right and left brain, the other part of the mind, is more maybe logical. And when you put the two together, there comes intuition and wisdom. You can allow yourself to view things, but then use your perception as sort of an artist would. And, paint a picture that works for you rather than, that sort of being a victim to everything around us.
Right.
And, it can be called, spinning our reality based on, finding more of a comfort level. But it allows us to get to know ourselves. And when we get to know ourselves, then we get to the core of the organic blueprint which is within us, rather than getting caught up in the programmings or the reactions that keep us in a low vibration. So I think that's the emergence of the divine masculine and feminine being more in a dance than a power struggle. And I find that when we're not in that energy, there's a lot of inner conflict of how it should be and what's right and wrong. And then the programmed feminine would maybe just sort of be subservient or a victim to that conflict. But when the two work together, it's all about creativity and being able to act upon it and shift the energy around you so that you're not just sort of like stuck in a situation where you're like, and and then there's boundaries always.
Right.
And the feminine needs boundaries because she's always birthing energy, not just babies. And so if she absorbs, and this is for men too, if she absorbs energy that isn't very positive or comfortable, it ends up being a part of that flow that sort of reflects back, which men experience as well. But when there's a boundary, you're deciding what you want to birth and conceive within yourself. And so, the two need to work together. So
I get kind of a color flash in my mind when I hit on the right combination as far as the thought process and what I'm projecting out. I get a blue flash when it's right. I feel
Nice.
blue. I feel the blue color, and I've always assigned that and associated that with the divine feminine, as in mom going, yeah, you got it, baby.
it softens everything.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because, in my relationship with Laura, I find that some of the things that I grapple with as an embodied male and programmed and sort of conditioned that way until I decided to break the programming and break the conditioning, is I'm not seeing a lot of what I'm grappling with in Laura. And so, and I think it has to do with possibly the really deep connection to the divine feminine, which isn't at all about forcing anything, or and so it's really assisted me in seeing the reflection of how she can be so in the flow sometimes, and then I'm like, oh, wait a sec, if she can be in the flow, what's going on in me. And so it's so important in particularly our primary relationships, to see that reflection, and particularly in a sacred union relationship where the commitment and dedication is at the highest level of what relationship is about. And again, we talked about not completing each other, but complementing each other. And that's an energetic that's so important now for
Saying,
people.
you got it, boy.
Right?
You got it.
That's some great validation.
That actually reminds me of something too. The Mars energy is always associated with the masculine. I mean, there was that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. The Mars energy, without working with Venus, is very willful, very controlling, very aggressive. And the feminine energy, which is just the heart, can be very vulnerable, very open, and almost take on and absorb too much. When the two work together, the Mars energy and the heart energy, the willfulness is met with the heart, which means that it's the power of love.
Right.
And that's why the two have to work together, because in our society or in our culture, it's been very Mars dominated, and the heart has really suffered. And now that the two are coming together, it's empowering love, but it's based on that union, because the will becomes divine will. And but the warrior still protects and is not totally vulnerable, and then the warrior is softened by the heart, and the words can come out softer in those dynamics shift. So I just had to add that.
You guys work really good together, by the way. I mean, I just see that you guys are right. And I know in my own relationship, we bounce off each other. Where I lack, she's strong, and where she lacks, I'm strong. And we teach each other constantly, and I can see that within you two, and it's just amazing.
He has
It's
conversations
amazing.
that I
It's that divine
needed to
union,
have.
right?
Like, I mean, literally, the whole completing each other's sentences, it sounds so cliche, but literally, it's just like we say the same thing at the same time. And then I think about all the things that I needed to do or resolve, and he's like, oh, I already had that conversation. Oh, I talked to that person. I'm like, Oh my God. It's like,
What motivates you guys? What makes you get up in the morning and do this stuff every day? Because I know at times it can be challenging.
Go ahead.
okay. Well, it's just there's something kind of like we're wired for this. It's like it's in our nervous system. There's a certain urgency and passion that if we don't answer to it, it can really drag us down. And I know, just knowing his chart, not to speak for him, but he's really meant to be a speaker. He's really meant to express. And if he doesn't, it doesn't feel very balancing. And for me, if I don't follow my heart and do what I came here to do, I feel life crushing me. And so it's like as everything's sort of flowing this way, like a salmon going upstream, it's like you have to be that salmon that's just gonna go for it, or else it's gonna the tide's gonna take you down. So we both share that urgency, that passion, and that call, and and then we're inspired by each other. So I'm not really a morning person, but once I get over the hump, it's like boom, we're on it. And anyway, that's good.
And so that's part of it in the mornings also. But it's when I first met Laura, I interviewed her for a radio program I had, and one of the things that she said was, I'm not afraid of dying. You always wake up somewhere. And I thought that was so profound, and it just made so much sense, and just what an easy way to help explain how this works. But for me then, each morning when I wake up here, I'm like, oh look, I'm here again. I know exactly what to do. And it's really, it's nice because that we have the opportunity to do what we're doing, to be so on our mission and on our path all the time, because I don't really know what else to do here. There's at a certain point, it's not even like a question of what it's about, and so that makes it easy.
Also, just our own relationship dynamics, because any relationship really needs to be committed to healing the archetypal wounding and patterning that has been so destructive, that if any of that stuff comes up between us, we put it into our work. It's like it's a call to action as far as this could really affect others, because we're in this process of weaving these forces back together on a macro level.
Right.
So we get to kind of play it out on our life stage, between ourselves and in our family. And so it really enriches us to sort of know how to touch the hearts of people that are struggling through the same thing, and it keeps us really real and able to address those core issues, while also taking care of the planet, because that's the template that's needed right now. So I think it's just really motivating to be with each other, because it's like it's like the homework comes up, and then it's like we push it into something that can make a difference.
You guys are doing some fantastic work. Where can people get a hold of you guys?
Well, we have the website touroflove.com, and that has our events and things that we're doing. And then I have drdream.com, drdream.com. And for our holistic healing practice in Ventura, we have healthyfamilynow.com.
And my website is cosmicgaiasophia.com. And that's just information about my readings, the stuff I speak about and consult about, and just a little bit about my journey, and just articles that I've written about some of my experiences and insights and all that kind of stuff.
So in the near future, Ramona and I will definitely get you guys on the show, but and I'm excited about that. I'm just I'm kind of overwhelmed with both your guys' energies and what you're doing out here in the world. I mean, wow, good job, and keep up the great work. We love you guys, and amazing.
Well, we love
Absolutely
you, and
amazing.
thank you so much for having us on your show.
Absolutely.
It's been great to be with you.
We really appreciate the reflection that we all have together, and like energy attracts. So it's been a real treat to spend time with you and have conversations that take us right off the surface and take us right into the heart of what's most important, and to share that, knowing that connection just allows us all to just notch it up.
So where's the book?
Nice to start the day.
Huh?
The book is right here.
Yeah, okay. No,
Yeah.
you guys know you're going to have to do that, right?
Well, we thought about writing a book together. We've both written our own books, and for numerous reasons, it hasn't quite made it out there. 250 pages of mine got kind of hijacked. It's a long story. He's been working, on a book, but we're kind of thinking of writing one together.
I think that would be some good stuff. I really do.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me for a few minutes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.